Knowing how to exercise authority and control over your cloud services is critical. This is closely followed by monitoring and reporting to be sure that everything is compliant. We're going to start this lesson by reviewing Azure governance methodologies. And one of my favorite governance features is Azure policies. Azure policies enforce rules over Azure resources, ensuring that the resources are compliant. For example, we can create a policy that will only allow a virtual machine to be created in a specific region, or the virtual machine can only be created using a specific size. Applying a bunch of single policies to a resource is cumbersome. So to make it easier, Microsoft has initiatives, which are a group of policies that are managed as a single unit. This reduces the complexity of managing multiple policies. And you can create customized initiatives for resources by combining policies. And you'll notice here in our example, in preview, we have Enable Monitoring in Azure Security Center, and it contains 88 policies. I don't know about you, but I don't want to manage 88 policies individually. That's a lot of work. Another way you can control your Azure environment is by implementing Role-Based Access Control, or RBAC. RBAC provides granular access to your resources. When a user is assigned a role, only the rights required to that access are provided, nothing more. If a user only has read access, that's all the user can do. The default roles in Azure are Owner, Contributor, and Reader. And if one of the many built-in roles does not meet your needs, you can also create custom roles. And there are several built-in roles already available to you, as you can see a sampling in our example. Another method to protect your resources in Azure is by applying locks. Locks prevent deletion or modification of a resource, and there are two types of locks. There is the cannot delete lock. The resource can be read and modified, but it cannot be deleted. And then there's the read-only lock. The resource can be read, but not modified or deleted. The Azure Security Advisor Security Assistant is a component of the Azure Advisor. It will analyze your Azure subscriptions and make security recommendations based on Microsoft best practices. Here we can see we have 3 recommendations. From within the Advisor, I can select the recommendation and mitigate the risk. Azure Blueprints is another one of those really cool tools that can be used for governance. A blueprint will apply the same scope or rules to a set of Azure resources to meet compliance. And you may be thinking, wait, didn't you just say that could be done using policies? And yes, I did. But the difference here is the blueprint contains not only policies, but role assignments, Azure Resource Manager templates, and resource groups. And it's all applied at the subscription level. This ensures that the same security and management features are applied to everything in the subscription, which helps keep our resources compliant. And as a side benefit, it can help reduce our costs. Now let's look at how we can monitor and report on our Azure services. And we're just going to touch on 3 services here. The first one being the popular Azure Monitor. The Azure Monitor is used to monitor availability and performance of resources using metrics and logs. It will collect application monitoring data, guest OS monitoring data, Azure resource monitoring data, Azure subscription monitoring data, and Azure tenant monitoring data. Next, we have Azure Service Health. This is a dashboard that provides insight into Azure and our resources. It will display the current status of Azure, Azure Service Health, and Azure Resource Health. And finally, we can use tags to group related resources together. A tag contains a name and a pair value. For example, IT Dev or IT Production. The tag is then assigned to a resource, making it easier to filter and retrieve resources for that specific tag. Microsoft provides several services to help you control, monitor, and report on your Azure resources, making it easier for you to ensure that you have a secure Azure environment.